been said, through the ages, without sacrifice, there can be no victory. Two species at war. That you have the most one flesh, beautiful face, one metal.
The brand new synthetic standard domestic profile installed. This is the best thing you will do for your family.
Hello, Joe.
I don't want one around the kids.
You're taking it back.
I'm not taking it back.
One of these bad boys can do 10 times what the D-series can do.
I'm happy with the one I've got.
You brought it into the house and we don't know anything about it.
It's a machine. You claim there are a handful of synthetics who can think and feel.
You've been pretending to be so much less than what you are.
We can't keep insisting that they are just gadgets. We have made them more than that.
I can't leave for you, George.
The human in the machine, the lines are blurring. What the hell are you?
Run!
I'm watching you. I'm watching you too, Laura.
This show is littered with the promotion of pushing humanity into coexisting with sentient, artificial intelligent beings. It is really promoting a artificial intelligence consciousness and transhumanism and just major Masonic agenda that is going on in this television series. And I don't think I even need to break down much symbolism in the trailer itself. I will still show some screenshots, but I really want to show you how much this same kind of propaganda has been shown to us for decades by literally taking you through a bunch of movies and TV shows that we've already broken down in the past and others as well. So, I find it quite interesting that the catchphrase for this show is called "Made in Our Image" and they're out of control, which makes total sense because, anything that human beings make will never be perfect. Only Abba Father can make perfect beings. And interestingly enough, even the logo of the show has an upside down A. You'll see a lot of as above, so below, that kind of thing. As we look at even what the series itself says on IMDb, it's basically about in a parallel present where the latest must-have gadget for any busy family is a synth, a highly developed robotic servant that's so similar to a real human, it's transforming the way we live. So that's how they're pushing it on to people that, hey, this person or this synthetic person can do all of your chores. It can really alleviate a lot of stress and time in your home and save you all kinds of headache and hardship and doing all these kinds of things that you normally don't have time to do. So this is how they're promoting this kind of propaganda. And even on Wikipedia, it talks about how humans, stylized as HUM with an upside down A, they just have to make a point of that, is a science fiction television series that debuted on June 14th, 2015 on Channel 4 in Britain. Okay, so this is really showing and pushing the whole synthetic, cybernetic organisms, or whatever you want to call it, artificial intelligence and robotics onto humankind because they want to get this agenda out there. This is what the goal of the Illuminati is. And as we look at some screenshots from the trailer, at first it flashes what looks like something that's kind of unreadable, but as you look at it, you've definitely got the Masonic logos right in there, the IXXI. Many of you are familiar with that. Here it is more clear right there, the IXXI, and all of a sudden it changes to this: what if we could create a perfect human? So first you see it as this, with a major Masonic symbolism. Again here, the as above, so below, the compass and the square with the eye in the middle. You've got the IXXI, the major Jesuit, cube of Saturn stuff going on here. And then it becomes, what if we could create a perfect, or the perfect human? And then later on, again, you see the same kind of message, which is, seemingly unreadable. And it becomes this: are they too, and they became too perfect. So again, major Masonic symbolism, cube of Saturn symbolism going on here, the IXXI. We know that this is major cube worship, Saturn worship. Literally the entire world is saturated with this cube of Saturn worship, which all comes from Freemasonic teachings, Kabbalah teachings, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing, transhumanism, and opening of the third eye, the sixth chakra, all Kabbalistic stuff that is going on here. I know this symbol, is very familiar, which we will see later on in Westworld, which we spoke about many times. But, it's all Nimrod worship, Kabbalistic worship, the cube of Saturn. Again, you've got the sun cross is a symbol of Tammuz, of Nimrod, of what the pagan Catholics are promoting. And what I also find quite interesting, as we go on, is in one of the movies that we covered recently called The Circle. In that same movie, Tom Hanks and Emma Watson were constantly going on about creating the perfect human being, of sharing information together, going transparent, all this lingo that they like to use to make it seem cool and trendy, to give up your privacy, your security, to share information, to go transparent, to say that sharing is caring.
How would you describe what the circle is to, say, your grandmother?
It's the chaos of the web made elegant.
Speed round, Paul or John?
Early Paul, late John.
Mario or Sonic?
Early Sonic, late Mario.
Needs of the society or needs of the individual?
Should be the same.
You're most scared of?
Unfulfilled potential.
I am a believer in the perfectibility of human beings. When we are our best selves, the possibilities are endless. At the circle, there isn't a problem that we cannot solve. We can cure any disease, and we can end hunger without secrets, without the hoarding of knowledge and information. We can finally realize our potential. Circlers, do you like to share? We will see it all. If it happens, we'll know. Imagine the human rights implications. There needs to be accountability.
What is this?
The circle has the power to change everything. It's only our lies that get us in trouble. Things we hide. We care about everybody you care about. Because knowing is good, but knowing everything is better.
And of course, you can see the people that are behind it, as you see, as they flash their Masonic symbols in the background before you can see the message that they're trying to portray. Of course, this is very obvious. They love to show their one-eye symbolism. This is seen right in the first episode, I believe, and of course, right in the trailer. They love to show the eye of these synthetic beings. Their eye is always green in color. That's how you can tell a synthetic person from a real person. Some of them, of course, who have consciousness. As they say, there are a few synthetic beings in this show, some of the main characters, that do have an actual consciousness. They call themselves sentient beings. And so you actually have artificial intelligence being shown in this particular television series. Later on, you hear one of the people in the show saying the human and machine, the lines are being blurred. So literally, are humans about to be replaced, or are they showing that humans and sentient beings, or humans and artificial intelligence are not that different, that they're pretty much going to be the same, or they're going to merge, or that man and machine are going to merge one day? They are really pushing this kind of idea or this kind of agenda on to human beings. And something that really struck me as well as I watched some of these shows is that these synths are people that can be purchased, but they also can perform adult services. So not only will they work in your home, but by a few certain words, they activate the adult mode, so fantasies can be fulfilled, just like we saw in that television show Westworld, which is a video that I did some time back. So basically, the synth itself, when it's first purchased, is activated by its primary user with certain words. So you just basically speak a few words, and the synthetic being is activated, and as they shake hands, the primary user's DNA is recorded by the synthetic being, and he or she is the primary user. But it's like literally by sounding these certain words, they can activate adult mode, they can activate different modes. So to me, it's like casting a spell, or literally MK Ultra going on here. So they're really portraying that. So not only do these synthetic beings can do work in your home, but they can perform whatever service you want them to perform, including adult services, which is very, very perverted. The same kind of thing that we saw in Westworld. And Later on in the trailer, which I believe took place in the first episode, the human says to the synth, "I'm watching you." And interestingly enough, you've got this nice sun god symbolism right in the background. It actually says Le Soleil here if you're watching the show, but you got the sun god symbolism right in the background as the human talks to the synth and telling her that she's watching her. And then the synth says back, now this is one of the main characters. Her name is Anita, but her real name is Mia. So she has, alternate personalities and is a synthetic being that had consciousness, that was basically kidnapped by another company and was changed into something else. But the synth says back to this character Laura that "I'm watching you too, Laura." So are these synths being trained to, as we speak, to be more than us? Or is it also programming to get human beings to be something else, that if we merge with machine and allow the government or allow companies to do this to us, can we become something better, just as like we were talking about in The Circle? It is quite obvious that the New World Order takeover is coming very soon. They are showing us that they want our privacies gone. They want to control every aspect of our lives. And that means the deception of giving up our security for the sake of privacy. This movie stars Tom Hanks and Emma Watson, people who are very familiar with New World Order type movies. And it's about a woman who lands a job at a powerful tech company called The Circle, where she becomes involved with a mysterious man. Now, The Circle is something similar to the Apple company, a computer giant leading the way in technology in this particular story. And as we go through some screenshots and some other information on the internet, I hope you can see some of the things that I am trying to explain here. And right from the beginning of the trailer, we see this company Europa, and I've seen this, and I'm sure many of you also have seen this same company appearing as the maker of many movies these days, or at least one of the companies affiliated with many of these big name movies. And of course, you've got the red and blue symbolism. Opening of the third eye is what the red and blue is all about, mixing it together for the purple. The indigo opening up the sixth chakra, or the third eye. And of course, you've got the fallen angel symbol right there as well. And if you look into even the word Europa, it is actually a name from Greek mythology, and it has an interesting story, which I'll share with you just very briefly here. You can really Google this yourself. I will leave links to all of the articles that I mentioned here. But Europa was basically a person or a princess that was raped by Zeus. Okay, and if we look at the story here, it says, according to Greek mythology, Zeus became so obsessed with the princess Europa that he shapeshifted into a tame white bull. Okay, go figure, shapeshifting yet again, things that we're being shown in many movies these days. We know that the devil is basically, Zeus is a representation of Satan, Lucifer, the fallen cherub, who basically can shapeshift into many different forms, and he used that to lure her closer. To prove to her servants that the animal wasn't dangerous, she mounted the bull, which then instantly, with her still on his back, ran into the ocean and swam to Crete. Once there, Zeus regained his true form and proceeded to rape Europa. Okay, so that is actually what the whole continent of Europe is named after, of a woman, Europa, who was raped by Zeus, okay, Lucifer basically. And I find that sad that an entire continent is named after that same thing. But anyways, as we see, we've got Europa, we've got the red and the blue already right in the first scene of the trailer. And as we keep going, we see here Emma Watson, who is being interviewed for the job, and she gets asked a bunch of questions very quickly, and one of them was needs of the society or needs of the individual, to which May, who was played by Emma Watson, answers should be the same. Now, when she said that, it really struck me that, here we are already being programmed to be stripped of our individuality, which basically to me sounds like the hive mind mentality, or humanity losing its identity, because how can the needs of society be the same as the individual? Because we all have different needs. Obviously, there are collective needs for for a city, for a town, for a bunch of people or a family, but of course every individual has their needs as well. Okay, so already I believe we're being shown that the stripping of our individuality is being shown. As we keep going, we see, of course, I just wanted to briefly touch on the whole globe and satellite programming, more of this nonsense for us to swallow, because they just have to keep that lie going of the globe. Later on, we see the CEO of the Circle companies, played by Tom Hanks. His name is Bailey, and Bailey believes in the perfectibility of every human being. Okay, he actually believes, according to the story, that every human can be perfected. But I hate to burst your bubble, Bailey, but we are fallen and corrupt. Exactly what the Bible says in Genesis, that man fell. Once Adam and Eve ate from the forbidden fruit, we fell, and we can only be saved and made whole again through Yeshua, Jesus. And as we keep going, we see May at her workstation, and as Bailey is talking in the background in the trailer, says, "At the circle, there isn't a problem we cannot solve. We can cure every disease." Of course, there you go, no poverty, no hunger, good health. We see a scene where there's messages being flashed up on the screen, which to me probably denotes people's thoughts. And Bailey, of course, says, without secrets, without the hoarding of information, we can finally reach our potential. As they flash all sorts of text on the screen, possibly, a representation of people's thoughts. And again, to me, it sounds like programming to give up our privacy. Okay, because they want us to believe that if we give up our secrets or hoarding information, we can reach our full potential if we're all just sharing information together. And again, really sounds like, giving up privacy to me. And as we keep going, there's again a conference going on at the company, The Circle, and Bailey yells out to all the people, "Circlers, do you like to share?" Which the crowd yells back, "Sharing is caring." Okay, so to me, common sense tells that I need to be careful whom I share things with and what info to share. But this movie, which actually comes from a book, promotes us to give up everything about us. And I don't know about you, but I find that extremely dangerous. I really don't believe that is the way, we should be, handling our lives. And, I just really believe that this is all showing us that we are being watched, even through social media, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, or whatever that icon is, LinkedIn, Skype, YouTube, Google+, whatever. I believe that social media is definitely a tool that is watching us, and, they want us to keep giving up our lives, keep giving up our securities and all this kind of thing. And I think that the programming is ramping up like crazy for this, these kind of messages. And of course, The Circle has developed a new tech called Sea Change, which enables people to, quote unquote, go transparent by broadcasting everything about their lives. Now, first of all, this clearly to me is just wrong on many levels. And second of all, this device looks eerily similar to an all-seeing eye with, of course, a cube in it. Go figure. So major pagan symbolism going on here, the whole all-seeing eye thing yet again in our faces. And of course, just as we just touched on, that social media also is a way to watch us, but major all-seeing eye symbolism, which is, the devil wants to show that he is all-knowing, that he is everywhere, that he is watching us. Even a role of the fallen angels was that they are watchers, and even though there are good angels that watch over us, are the fallen angels as well, along with Lucifer, who are doing the things they should not be doing.
Okay, so now here we get into something personal. As you know, I have a son, Gunnar, who was born with cerebral palsy. And though he's living a very full life and we're always trying to improve his opportunities, he is confined to a wheelchair. And he can't walk, he can't run, he can't go kayaking. So what does he do if he wants to experience something like that? Well, he watches video. He looks at pictures. And much of his experiences of the world come through the experience of others. When he experiences the view of a circler climbing Mount Kenya, he feels like he's climbed Mount Kenya. When he sees firsthand video from an America's Cup crew member, he feels in some way that he's sailed in the America's Cup too. And these experiences were facilitated by generous humans who shared what they saw with the world, my son included, and there are many others out there that are just like Gunnar. Now, does it feel right to have deprived them of seeing what you saw, May?
It doesn't. It feels very wrong. It was selfish. When you deprive others of experiences like the ones I had, you're essentially stealing from them. Knowledge is a basic human right. Access to all possible human experience is a basic human right.
Thank you, May, for your candor and your consummate humanity. Now the best part. In the interest of sharing everything she can with the world, May has some news.
From now on, I'll be wearing a modified sea change camera at all times. I'm going fully transparent.
Well, maybe not in the bathroom.
I'll be starting immediately.
Good morning, everyone. Sun is shining, and I definitely need my coffee. We are in my 3rd week of transparency, and we're up to 2,308,007 viewers. Wow. Did I tell you guys I'm not a morning person? Okay, among all of those viewers are... I don't even know what to write.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hi!
Hi, May.
Say hello to everyone.
Hello,
Circle.
Look, we match.
Yeah,
We sure do.
these are great.
Very stylish.
I love you guys. I'll see you later.
Love
You
you.
too, sweetheart.
Bye.
And now, two worlds colliding. Only one survives.
And, even according to the book, which I found some interesting information on Wikipedia about the book itself, they talk about some of the interesting lingo that is being used here. And it says that after a brief incident with her own legal issues, May ends up agreeing to wear a sea change device herself, called Going Transparent, as we just spoke about, representing her own growing role in the company, epitomizing by a public talk in which she insists secrets are lies. So basically, we're not allowed to keep anything to ourselves, that we're lying if we do that. Sharing is caring, and privacy is theft. So they're trying to tell us that if we keep things, if we hold on to our privacy, then it's actually like thieving from the general public, that we're keeping things away, that we can reach our full potential if we just share everything. So May's job now mainly consists of touring the campus and showing customers future products. Any hints of her own doubts about privacy seem dropped, in contrast to her ex-boyfriend Mercer, who eventually insists on going off the grid to escape the increasingly far-reaching influence of the Circle and its technologies. Okay, so later calls May, warning her that the Circle must be stopped, but she refuses to listen. So, of course, we can see really what is happening here, that is completely showing the technocratic takeover, that they want us to give up our privacies, they want us to believe this stuff. I found a very good, interesting article from Quartz that talks about this movie. Knowing is good, but knowing everything is better. How we are being shown this so much in so many TV shows. And you tell me if it's just coincidence, is it just, just stories that are being told to us, or is there an agenda here? Because there is just so much. And if I were to spend, or try to show you every single movie and TV show that is showing the same kind of themes, then we would be here forever. So anyways, we spoke about Westworld, just a little while back, and a few videos ago. And, again, a fantasy world created by this man here, Anthony Hopkins. He played a character called Dr. Ford, and literally he had created a fantasy world for people to come and indulge in whatever fantasy that they wanted to, with these synthetic, beings, these robots that can perform whatever service that the human is paying for. So major transhumanism, same kind of thing, opening the sixth chakra. The Kabbalistic teachings, the same symbol, just as what we saw here. Again, that same symbol, seeing it in Westworld. Again, that same kind of transhumanistic, Kabbalistic symbolism going on here. So all for the transhumanism, opening up of the third eye, changing human beings into something else. And we just spoke of Emerald City in the last video that I did, and go figure that this white witch was talking about how there was a war coming of science and magic, and how they showed transhumanism yet again.
Makes these guns. We take them to war. A war on magic.
A warning to the people, the good and the evil. This is
Many of us will remember the movie Terminator, which, basically has been a series of movies since the early 80s, the most recent one being Terminator Genesis. And of course, yet again, major transhumanism going on here, man and machine merging, where you've got Terminators that are used to kill people, and you've got, ones that have been reprogrammed to help the human beings, and you've got the majority of these machines being used to basically terminate or exterminate humanity so that they can basically rule the world. And, of course, another video that we did recently was Ghost in the Shell, talking about, the fact that, again, transhumanism, Scarlett Johansson playing that, that role with again, you got the wires hooked up to her, all that kind of thing. And, I find it quite interesting that even this phrase, Ghost in the Shell, is also made reference to in the TV show that we are speaking of. In Humans, they actually use that same phrase, Ghost in the Shell. And, isn't it ironic that Scarlett Johansson just happened to be the same person, the same actress in the movie Lucy, where she basically changed into a supercomputer. You see the black goo all over her. It's like the apotheosis of human beings, or of Lucy herself, which could be basically another form of saying Lucifer, the dragon himself, showing this, her becoming this supercomputer emerging man with machine. Yet again, we're seeing the same kind of programming or symbolism messaging going on in that particular movie. And then, of course, we spoke about another movie recently called Passengers, and yet again, we see the transhumanism going on with the bar, the waiter that serves Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt in a particular scene on the spaceship.
Hello.
Is he asking me on a date?
She didn't seem that impressed. Wow.
You clean up pretty good yourself.
You two look fine this evening.
We're on a date.
Very nice.
Took you long enough to ask. So, why did you give up your life on Earth? We boarded the Avalon with a destination. 120 years hibernation means we'll wake up in a new century on a new planet. But a year ago, everything changed.
Hello? Anybody here?
Hello? Do you know what's going on? Nobody else is awake.
I think something went wrong with the hibernation pods. We woke up too soon. 90 years too soon.
This can't be happening. We have to go back to sleep.
We can't.
We love you.
Something's wrong. Something big.
What do we do now?
Do you trust me? This ship is gonna go. I have to do this.
No! You die, I die.
There's something I have to tell you. There's a reason we woke up early.
This film is littered with New World Order themes and major Cube of Saturn worship. Of course, these two actors are no strangers to doing work in these kinds of movies, but let's just take a look at what is going on here, and from some information I'd like to show you. I hope you will see the symbolism that I speak of and what I believe we're being shown. Now, the storyline goes, the spaceship Starship Avalon, in its 120-year voyage to a distant colony planet known as Homestead, or as the Homestead Colony, and transporting 5,259 people, has a malfunction in 2 of its sleep chambers. As a result, 2 hibernation pods open prematurely, and the 2 people that awake, Jim Preston, who's played by Chris Pratt, and Aurora Dunn, played by Jennifer Lawrence, are stranded on the spaceship. still 90 years from their destination. So let's just break down some of these things that we're seeing even in the trailer. You know, as it opens up, we see Jennifer Lawrence sitting in what looks like a womb or a portal. Of course, this number 9 seems to show up a lot, 90 years away from their destination. And of course, there happens to be just 9 rocks sitting right in the middle of this room, which we know is a major New World Order number. As we keep going in the trailer, we see a shot of them going on a date. They are sitting at the bar, I guess, which is on the spaceship. And wouldn't you know it, major Saturn symbolism going on here. We've even got the IXXI, you know, on the wall here. If we look at this from a three-dimensional standpoint, you could be looking at the top of a pyramid and all this kind of thing going on right here on the wall. And you know what I find even more interesting, if we take a closer look even at the bartender, we'll see what is he wearing? None other than these New World Order colors. Okay, and I always, you know, sometimes I get questions as to why why red, black, and white are New World Order colors. Well, of course, the Nazi flag was New World Order, or at least an experiment for the New World Order, and many New World Order themed movies such as V for Vendetta, or even movies like Hunger Games. We know that Jennifer Lawrence also played in that movie, and here we go, the symbolism right there, black crow, red outfit, white in the background, the same red, black, and white symbolism. Of course, we've got the one eye symbolism there as well. Same in this movie poster, again, the one eye symbolism, as well as, again, the black, red, and white colors that are happening here. All right, so we see this, you know, going on a regular basis in lots of these movies. We've got the red, black, and white color symbolism. We've also got what looks to be a pagan god in the background, whether it's a Buddha, whether it's some other statue, seems to be or could be a pagan god that we are looking at, an idol. But as the bartender rolls away, we see what he really is. Okay, he is none other than a cyborg. Major New World Order theme of transhumanism is going on here. And, you know, we see this kind of thing played out a lot in so many movies. We spoke about this in the video that I did for Westworld, and many other people like Nicholson 1968, who has an awesome channel and speaks about these kinds of things, you know, man becoming God, the apotheosis of man, and how they think they're going to become gods and just falling for, you know, all these lies of the devil. And, you know, they love to make it seem so glamorous and sexy and all this kind of thing, but they will never have it. Man will never be God. Man will never, you know, even if they merge with machine, it's not going to be successful. But these themes are constantly portrayed in these kinds of movies. And of course, even Chris Pratt, he's no stranger to these kinds of movies. He's played in Guardians of the Galaxy and other, you know, New World Order, Space Age, you know, this kind of space deception kind of nonsense that they love to show us. But let's just keep going in this trailer. The next scene, we see the starship Avalon, which is the name of this ship. And, you know, I find it real interesting. If you just do a little numerology on Avalon, guess what it adds up to? And let's just take a look. So Avalon just so happens to add up to 65. And what does 6 and 5 add up to? It adds up to 11. And we know that 11 is the number of destruction in the Illuminati and the occult. Even, you know, the Bible, Revelation 9:11, Revelation 11:11, when the two witnesses come, and that particular verse is when the big earthquake hits. So 11 is always symbolized or associated with destruction. So interesting that the ship Avalon just so happens to add up to 11, the number for destruction. And as we keep going, we see major cube of Saturn symbolism here. We've got it on the wall, on the two walls. He looks like he's walking through the pillars here. So the two walls showing the cube of Saturn. We've got even on the wall up here more cubic symbolism. All right, so this is definitely, you know, not by chance. The fact that we see this symbolism in so many instances. Then we've got another scene here that in the background, and you know, this is something that is key, is always pay attention to what's going on in the background, because, you know, you will miss a lot of stuff. When I started waking up, I really started paying attention to the scenes and the symbols that are being shown in the background, that they love to get into our heads, you know, subliminally. But of course, just like we saw in Westworld, we've got this six-pointed sprite kind of symbolism going on here. I believe this is really showing who is behind this. Of course, it's the same symbol that that Walmart uses in its logo. All right, but really, this is nothing more than the Zionistic, Star of David, as they like to say, but it's not the Star of David at all. This is the Star of Remphan, as is noted in the book of Acts and noted many times in the Old Testament. This has come from the pagan temple of Solomon that he built thousands of years ago with Hiram, the king of Tyre. And so this is where this comes from. This is the hexagon. This is not the symbol of Israel. Okay, this is a satanic 666 hexagram. You've also got the cube of Saturn, of course, right inside this hexagram. So we can see that the Zionists, that the Illuminati are the people that are behind this nonsense that they constantly show us, and they want to get these symbols into our heads to keep programming us. And of course, as we keep going in the trailer, yet again, more cubic symbolism, but this time it majorly looks like a hive because they love to promote this hive mind. Okay, yet again, the transhumanism, they want people to be all linked up. They want people to be, they think it's freedom for all of us to have our brains linked up and to be of the same mind and to be linked into the same system. But that's the way that the devil wants to control people. He wants to take your DNA. He wants to change it so that he can control it. That is what the devil wants, because he knows that if man has free will, he will never have that worship that he desires, that he so craves. But if we're linked up to a system and we have no choice, the devil wants us to be robots. See, the Lord God doesn't want us to be robots. He never created us to be robots. But the devil, that's exactly what he wants to turn us into. He wants to turn us into something that will just blindly worship him, because he knows that man on his own will never do that. At least he won't be able to get all of us. All right, so that's really what I think is being shown here, this hive mind, it's exactly what the devil wants. And as we keep going, we see, of course, they love to show this destruction. I think it always symbolizes the destruction of the old world that is coming, and the rebirth of humanity, I think, is coming just around the corner. I really believe we're on the verge of that very event. Some big false flag is going to happen or something. In this scene, this is just speculation on my part, but to me, this kind of looks like the owl of Moloch with the two big circles here. It looks like eyes, looks like an owl head, almost reminds me of Wall-E, or even when we did that video on the Apple iPhone 7 commercial, and a lot of owl of Moloch symbolism. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're showing here. As we go to the next scene, it's funny how we see this looks like one eye as the ship goes towards the sun. And interestingly enough, Aurora, who is the name of the character that Jennifer Lawrence plays, Aurora just so happens to be a Roman goddess, and she is known for renewing herself every morning and flies across the sky, announcing the arrival of the sun. Okay, so again, you can see major pagan god symbolism going on here. I think this is being portrayed in this particular scene as they're hurtling towards the sun, and Aurora being played by Jennifer Lawrence, the Roman goddess who announces the arrival of the sun. I believe this is just none other than good old Nimrod and Semiramis worship, or Baal and Isis worship, whatever you want to call it. I believe that is really what is going on here. And of course, what would a movie be without the black and white duality, as above, so below? All right, I mean, I think almost every movie I see now, or every trailer that I break down, there is some sort of black and white duality. Some is very major about, symmetry or reflections and showing this whole duality, as above, so below, or some of it, they don't show it as much. But of course, this movie shows that as well. As we keep going, they flash this particular machine, which to me totally reminds me of CERN. Major CERN one-eye symbolism going on here. Even the 88 is shown cryptically. If you add the points of this middle eye thing, that's definitely 8 on one side and 8 on the other side. Okay, so the 88, breaking of time and space, breaking of the veil. They want to bring hell on earth. They want to open the pit. That is exactly what I believe they're showing here, and we're not that close to that whole event that is going to come, because they are working on that frantically. Of course, we've got yet again more cube of Saturn symbolism. They just can't get enough of this cube. They're really showing who they worship, because the cube, Saturn, all represents Satan. Okay, that's really what's being shown here. And as we go on later on this trailer, we see Jennifer Lawrence in basically this big bubble of water. Again, the water, so many movies and TV shows are showing this water and this rebirth symbolism. I believe this is all about humanity about to be reborn. All right, and even as we look at water in Wicca, in the pagan beliefs. I found a good article from the White Goddess, of course, all about New Age stuff, but it says water is a feminine element. It is also the element of emotion and subconscious, of purification, intuition, mysteries of the self, compassion, and family. It is psychic ability. Water can be used as a means of scrying, and of course we spoke about that before, the scrying mirror, looking into the portal, looking into the spiritual world, all that kind of stuff like the Oculus and bringing the demonic into our realm, or as an object for meditation. Water is important in spells and rituals of friendship, marriage, happiness, fertility, healing, pleasure, psychic abilities, and spells involving mirrors. All right, so basically, as we constantly see these water themes, that is what I believe they're showing us. This is a big deal in the occult, this whole theme of water, the rebirth. They want to paganize the rebirth that we have in Christ. We can only truly be reborn when we give our lives to Christ. And of course, that is always shown to us in these, but what these movie stars and actors do, and Hollywood entertainers and musicians, they love to show this rebirth because they've been reborn into the devil's kingdom. They haven't been reborn into Christ's kingdom. And of course, many of us remember Katy Perry and her video Rise. Again, major water rebirth, womb of Isis kind of themes going on in that music video, which we showed in a previous video. But definitely this rebirth, this water, is something that is a major theme in the occult. And I also believe that this is also their way of cryptically talking about, yet again, the waters above the firmament, because we are held in by the firmament. We cannot go past it. NASA admits they can't get past the Van Allen belt, so they've never been to the moon. Then of course the waters above is the second heaven, where the dragon, the devil, Leviathan, chaos, whatever you want to call him, that is where he dwells, and that is where the fallen angels are going to come from very soon. I believe that the devil and his angels are going to be cast out of heaven, the dragon, and they are going to be cast out of the second heaven. Of course, that is always shown to us in so many of these space age movies, movies about aliens. Where do they come from? They always come from space. Water, they're going to come from the waters above, whether it's in spaceships, whether they're being made here on earth in preparation for the devil and his minions, but that is exactly where they are going to come from. So I believe this whole water theme also denotes the portal, denotes the fact of the place where the fallen angel, Lucifer, and the dragon and his fallen angels are going to come from. All right, so that is what I believe is being shown here. And, constantly we are being shown these themes. And, I believe this is all leading to the great deception as shown in 2 Thessalonians 2, because it says from verse 9 that the coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, and that they may all be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Okay, so the big deception is coming. I believe they are preparing the world for this deception. We know that the Pope has openly said that he would baptize aliens. Even the Jesuit priests like Guy Consolmagno and the heads of the Jesuit scientific community, they're constantly talking about aliens coming, and they're just preparing the world for this alien savior.
What are you? This is just the beginning.
and it is an adaptation, I believe, of a Japanese animated series back from the 90s with the same title, Ghost in the Shell. And I believe we are being telegraphed like crazy the plans of the New World Order, of the Illuminati. It is coming very quickly, and I believe the signs are all over the place. And just as we dig into this, let's just see what IMDb says. It's about a cyborg policewoman attempts to bring down a nefarious computer hacker. Okay, and as we go down further, it talks about how, based on the internationally acclaimed sci-fi property Ghost in the Shell, follows the major, a special ops, one-of-a-kind human cyborg hybrid. Okay, so there you go, already transhumanistic, agenda being shown here, who leads the elite task force Section 9, devoted to stopping the most dangerous criminals and extremists. Section 9 is faced with an enemy whose singular goal is to wipe out Hanka Robotics advancements in cyber technology. So literally it's all about the company protecting the company's interests, basically protecting the elite and the Illuminati. They want to protect their technology because they want to enslave humanity. That's what I believe is coming very soon, and I believe is in the works, or has been in the works for many years now. This is IMDb's write-up, I guess you could say, of Ghost in the Shell from the 90s. This is the animated series. A cyborg policewoman and her partner hunt a mysterious and powerful hacker called the Puppet Master. Sounds like the Dragon. Sounds like the Illuminati basically pulling all the shots, or the Puppet Master, the shadow government. Since the year is 2029, the world has become intensively information-oriented, and humans are well connected to the network. And then it flashes to another scene where we see Major Motoko going down a hall to find, and what does she find? She finds a bunch of guys hooked up to the Matrix. You can see them all sitting. There's tons of them here in this room. They're all sitting in a circle, of course, like the Illuminati Eye, the Illuminati Circle, whatever you want to call it. They all have these wires hooked up to their heads, right in the back of their head. You can see it's actually going right into the back of their neck. So they are definitely in the Matrix. They are being controlled, and as this scene progresses, we hear a voice of the narrator saying, "It's just the beginning." And that caused me to ask, the beginning of what? What is the beginning here? What is going on here? And this scene was reminiscent to me of the good old scene from The Matrix, the classic movie from the late 90s. Good old Neo when he's being unplugged from the Matrix. Same kind of deal going on here. He's hooked up to all the wires, the machine. He's being set free. And I'm sure many of you remember when he woke up and he saw the millions and millions of other human beings basically in bondage and being hooked up to the machine as well. So same kind of thing that is going on here. All of these humans are being hooked up, and I believe, as the narrator says, it's just the beginning. I believe it's the beginning of the New World Order, of the control of humanity, of the final phase of the plan of the great work, as number 9 signifies or symbolizes the divine work and the fall of man, the fall of the Christian church, the fall of everything. They just want to destroy everything so that they can bring their new world order. That is what is coming. So is it getting obvious yet? I believe this movie is telegraphing very, very obviously in plain sight that the New World Order is coming very soon. They know that many of us are already hooked to our phones, to our mobiles, to our smartphones, to our computers, to our gadgets. They know that humanity needs technology, or at least cannot go without technology. I believe if there was even to be an EMP or some kind of attack that took out the power grid, I'm sure many human beings, billions of people in the world, would be completely lost and would be begging for the government to do something. So I can only imagine what is coming really soon. And as I watched this trailer, like I said before, I was just absolutely floored, because this is all pointing to the final kingdom, as is shown in Daniel 7. And we look at verse 23, and he said, "The fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom on earth, which shall be different from all other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, trample it, and break it in pieces." Okay, so this is what is coming. The final kingdom is coming. It is going to trample and break the entire earth. And we are being shown this in plain sight, as clear as day. I mean, when you see these people hooked up to this machine, that is what the beast system will be like. The devil wants to control humanity. The devil wants all of us to worship him. He wants to be worshipped as the Most High God, even though he is not. He is the counterfeit, and he uses technology and all of these things, all of these simulations to wow people. And just as the Bible says that he will come with all kinds of signs and lying wonders, and this is exactly what is being shown in this movie, that the New World Order, the technocratic society, the control of humanity, the enslavement of humanity is coming very soon, as prophesied in Daniel, also prophesied in the book of Revelation, and much of Bible prophecy speaks of this final kingdom, okay, the kingdom of iron and clay that is coming very soon, the New World Order, the final kingdom of the earth. But we can be thankful that Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, the rock cut without hands, is coming to destroy the kingdoms of this world. He is going to throw down this final kingdom, this beast system, and he is going to reign from the throne of David forever and ever, at least for the 1,000 years, and then finally Satan will be released for a final battle. But Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, is going to have the final victory. And if you are on the winning side, if you know Yeshua, Jesus, as your Savior, you are on the winning side. So I pray that if you do not know Jesus, please give your life to him. Things are heading towards a rapid pace of this New World Order that is coming very, very soon. You know, this is really reminding me of Daniel chapter 7 and the final kingdom that is coming. And before we get to that, you know, just take a look at some more screenshots here that, you know, May gets told by this person again, I believe it's Calden or whatever his name is, that the circle has the power to change everything, and it's our lies that get us into trouble. But the circle, if the circle sees and knows all, then I'm sure we're in for a lot of trouble. This is major predictive programming for what is coming soon. So, you know, I believe that we're being shown that the final kingdom is coming, that the New World Order is really rising up here. Interesting that they got good old triangle imagery in the background. And really, the more power and control that the elite have, the worse it will be for society, the more it will allow their New World Order to come into being very soon. And of course, shortly after that, we see chaos ensuing all over the world, or at least in many different parts. Absolute chaos seems to ensue once the circle knows all. To me, this is predictive programming for the New World Order takeover that is coming soon. And again, it is just like what Daniel 7 prophesied about the final kingdom. And the final kingdom is said to be, the fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom on earth, which shall be different from all other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, trample it, and break it in pieces. And you know, these movies, as I keep watching these things, the programming is being ramped up like crazy, and we are being programmed to accept that this New World Order is coming, this final beast system, that this march of tyranny is definitely at hand, and we are being walked all over like crazy. It doesn't even seem to matter who you vote for these days, whether you're in America and you vote Republican or Democrat, whether you're in Canada and you vote conservative or liberal, or whatever country that you happen to live in. It doesn't even seem to matter who you vote for these days. They all are corrupt. They all seem to be part of this elite world system. They all are working together. There is a shadow government behind the scenes, the Illuminati, the elites, the people behind, the Luciferians who are behind all of this, and they are majorly planning to tear apart this world in order to forward their agenda. All right, and I believe that is what we're being shown in these movies. The technocratic takeover of society is coming very, very soon. Interestingly enough, when Tom Hanks, as he's giving his talk, or I should say Bailey, and all kinds of scenes are flashing on the screen behind him, of course they just have to flash the good old archway there, to me, is getting ready for Baal, the arches of Baal that are being shown and that are being pumped all over the world. And are we being shown that the arrival of Antichrist is coming very soon? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they are showing us, that Antichrist is definitely coming. They are preparing the way for him. And, you know, as the scene goes on, it goes, Bailey says that because knowing is good, but knowing everything is better. And to me, that sounds like how Satan wants to be like. He wants to be like the Most High, does it not? You know, because we've got Satan who says he will ascend the heights of God. He will be like the Most High, but he never will be. And to me, it's just major all-seeing eye programming here, that the devil wants us to believe that he is the one that's in control, that he is the one that sees everything. And I found it quite interesting that you've got even this Matrix-like scene in the background, which really reminds me of that scene with the architect that Neo came into when he finally came to see who was in charge of everything, and he comes to the architect, and of course there's all these screens in the background. You know, same kind of thing I believe are being shown in this movie. And of course, Tom Hanks is no stranger to New World Order dystopian type of movies. In fact, I just watched one of his recent movies called Inferno, which talks about disease and death and all kinds of horrible things happening all over the world, being released by people. It was, of course, the WHO was made to be the hero, or the government, I should say. They want us to trust the government, but really it's the complete opposite. And so, again, Tom Hanks is definitely no stranger to these kinds of movies.
There's a switch. If you throw it, half the people on Earth will die. But if you don't, in 100 years, the human race will be extinct. You are humanity's final hope. I left you a path. The hardest one yet. Inferno will be at the end.
Zubris. American billionaire.
He said someone needed to take action.
He has left this map. Is this supposed to be a puzzle? See, you can find. Zubris created a plague.
If a plague exists, do you know how many governments would want it? And what they'd do to get it?
Without Professor Lennon, no one can find the virus.
Don't trust anyone. Human lives are at stake. I just want to know that I'm on the right side.
Let's get him.
Now is the time. Today is our rebirth.
This is exactly what they're trying to tell us in this movie, The Circle, that, if we go transparent, if we, believe that secrets are lies and that sharing is caring and that privacy is theft, then, we will reach our full potential. But this is all, programming for what they want us to believe, that giving up privacies is a good thing. And, the more I look about, or think about this whole circle thing, it really reminds me of even the Wiccan practices and the circles that they talk about, and if we look even at the Wicca website itself, it talks about how to cast a circle of protection. So basically in witchcraft, which is another reason for this movie, I believe that we are being shown even witchcraft in a very subliminal way, but they believe that this circle is a protection for these witches, and it protects them from other things. But really what is happening here is that this is not protection. This circle is opening them up to the devil, to the one who wants to destroy their soul. So this is not protection, this is destruction. And this is what is being shown to us, that the devil wants to destroy our lives. He doesn't want to save them. He doesn't want to protect us. He doesn't have anything good for us. He only wants to rule and destroy our lives and take as many with him. And to me, the circle is denoting this as well. You can see, these people basically being plugged into the machine, to the matrix. This to me is what the circle is, apart from, the Wicca stuff, apart from the occultic things and, this basic magic in a technological way. This is really what it's all about, getting people to plug into the matrix. And, sadly, this is what is happening. People think if they give up their privacies and go transparent, and we're being programmed to believe these things, that we will have freedoms, that we will be able to reach our full potential, that we will be able to share information like crazy. But really, you will be just put into this circle, this matrix circle that you will never be able to get out of. And that is, I believe, what is coming very soon to this world, that slowly already many people are being drawn into this matrix through technology. This Wicca circle, this magic and spell casting is definitely being done through a technological way. And we are being shown this in many movies like Ghost in the Shell, like movies like The Matrix, or even this movie we're talking about today, The Circle. And if you saw the trailer of this movie, Ghost in the Shell, that had many Buddhist overtones. And of course, one of the main symbols, or the main symbol of Buddhism, of course, is the circle with the 8-pointed star, the Star of Ishtar. And of course, 8 just happens to be the number of new beginning, of rebirth. So this is what we are constantly being shown, this rebirth, the Ouroboros, the all-seeing eye, the circle, whatever you want to call it. This is all the same stuff that we are being shown. And of course, you know, to the Illuminati and to the elites, this is what we are. This is all they think about us as. We are just batteries in their machine. We are batteries in their matrix machine to just keep their system going. And they want to sit on top of us, and we are just batteries and bugs and whatever you want to call it. We are nothing to them. They just want to use us. And this is really what Lucifer wants. He wants us to just be his slaves. He wants to enslave us in his system and take as many people with him as he can into hell, where he is going to dwell. That is his fate. You know, we have been redeemed. If we give our lives over to Yeshua, HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, the Messiah, we can have the new birth. It will only come through Jesus. But if we continue to succumb to this world and give up our freedoms and go along with what the government and the elites want, then this is what is going to happen to us. We will just end up being enslaved in this world.
Did you?
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
This can't
Be what? Be real?
It's going into replication.
Hey, Pop.
Still nothing.
Let's go. Let's go. Tank, we're going to need a signal soon.
We got a fibrillation.
APOC, location.
Targeting almost there.
He's going into arrest.
Lock, I got him. Now, Tank, now.
That, of course, many will remember the movie Insurgent, and of course, what happens to Triss as she needs to unlock the box to be able to, you know, get what the bad character wants, that played by Kate Winslet. Of course, she's hooked up to the machine, and she's able to go into the alternate reality, into a digital alternate reality. It's interesting that I believe there are six, it's either 6 or 8 cables that are attached to her, symbolize the whole new beginning. She's in the circle, in the womb, all that kind of stuff going on here. The black and white, as above, so below. and yet again, man and machine morphing together. And of course, there was recently another movie called Ex Machina, which again is all about cybernetic or artificial intelligence. The plot itself says that a young programmer is selected to participate in groundbreaking experiment in synthetic intelligence by evaluating the human qualities of a breathtaking humanoid AI. So basically, it's all about, just like in this television show Humans, they are trying to make robots that are literally like humans, that are like us, that can do the same things, that feel the same things, that act the same way, that literally have human qualities. So possibly for a coming war that's coming, or to replace humans because of all the depopulation. Who knows what it means, but there's definitely leading to something. And of course, many of you will remember a movie called Elysium starring Matt Damon. It's funny that Elysium was a place where all the elites who had all the technology and all the comforts, they lived on this other planet, I guess you could say, shaped like a pentagram, of course, a five-pointed star up in space, where they had all the comforts out there. But Matt Damon, you can see the transhumanism going on there with him attached to the machine because he was very much injured and they needed to attach him to something in order to get his body to work again. So again, major transhumanism being pushed in so many of these movies. And as we keep going, many of you will remember a movie from some time back. I believe this was from the early 2000s, called I, Robot, starring Will Smith. Of course, there was, an army of robots that were there supposed to be doing good, but there was this one, I believe this one with the blue eyes was the one that Will Smith was constantly chasing throughout the movie because he basically became conscious. He was, trying to do a lot of bad things against the human race, and Will Smith had to try and stop him. And, I find it so fascinating how far and how long ago this programming has been going on. And, it really hit me of a movie that I saw many years ago. I'm sure many of you would have seen it yourself, called Bicentennial Man. It was back from 1999, starring Robin Williams, and it was about an android who endeavors to become human as he gradually acquires emotions. And I remember as I watched this movie, it was very heartwarming. It was a nice story. Robin Williams is this robot that basically, tries to be human and even wants to die as a human later on. He even falls in love with the main female character. And so, it's a very heartwarming story. But yet again, as we talk about all this transhumanism and these agendas, you can see what is being pushed, or what has been pushed for so many decades, and it's just becoming more and more in our faces. And from the same time of 1999, go figure, the Matrix movie is what came out around that time as well. We show this scene here where Neo was waking up, coming out of the machine, coming out of the Matrix. He has to pull out all the wires and all the things that he is hooked up to. And so again, major transhumanism showing man and machine morphing together, showing that man is being controlled by the machine, living in an alternate reality, living in a fantasy world that just doesn't even exist. And the reality of it is that the Matrix, or the system, is controlling humankind. This is what is being shown to us over and over and over again. And, really made me think even of a movie called Edward Scissorhands that, was back in the early 90s. It starred Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder, and of course, yet again, you're seeing the transhumanism. This, person, he was created by, a character who played his father, who was actually Vincent Price, who was from, a lot of horror movies back in the day. But, Johnny Depp played a character that was basically a created being. He was created by another human, and he wasn't given proper hands. He only had scissors for hands, and actually ended up causing a lot of damage. But, here you see Winona Ryder, the human, falling in love with this, created being, not by God, but by another human being. So, I believe this transhumanism has been something that has been an agenda for a very long time, and they have been putting out these movies for so long, to ease people into what is truly coming. And interestingly enough, Johnny Depp, the same character, the same actor from that movie of Edward Scissorhands from many years ago, in 2014, recently did a movie called Transcendence, where he was a scientist and he had a drive for artificial intelligence, and he takes on dangerous implications when his consciousness is uploaded into a program. And for those of you who saw this movie, I did happen to see this one also. Of course, he basically took over the internet. He was running literally the entire world. He was able to, ascend into cyberspace and, basically control every single machine on the earth, I believe, is what was going on in that movie. It was just pretty crazy. But also very scary at the same time as to what happened. So, same kind of thing, uploading the consciousness. This agenda is being pushed like crazy to show human beings that, hey, we can be better, we can, go to the next level, we can be something more than what we were created to be, getting people to not be satisfied with how God created them. And, another TV show that came to mind was a children's television series that was back in the 80s called Inspector Gadget. How many of you remember this television show? I know myself as a kid, I used to watch this show. It was one of my favorites. Back in the 80s, you can see him, how he had the transhumanistic legs with the roller skates, basically the jet-propelled roller skates. He had even his arms, and many of you will remember his famous phrase of go-go gadget arms or go-go gadget legs or whatever it is he would say, and all of a sudden he was able to do something else. His arms could stretch out, his legs could stretch out, he could have jetpacks on his feet so that he could go faster. He could have something that pops out of his head so that he could fly. Again, as you think about it, major transhumanism going on here, but back in the 80s, you would have never thought that it was, leading to what we are seeing now. But the programming, in my opinion, has been going on for decades. We have been prepared for this for a very, very long time. And, it led me to this article today on BBC News. It was from March of 2016. And the title is The Immortalist, Uploading the Mind to a Computer. So this is a real thing. This is what is going on in the real world and what they are preparing us for. And it says, while many tech moguls dream of changing the way we live with new smart devices or social media apps, one Russian internet millionaire is trying to change nothing less than our destiny by making it possible to upload a human brain to a computer, reports Tristan Quinn. Within the next 30 years, promises Dmitry Itskov, I am going to make sure that we can all live forever. It sounds preposterous, but there is no doubting the seriousness of this softly spoken 35-year-old who says he left the business world to devote himself to something more useful to humanity. I'm 100% confident it will happen. Otherwise, I wouldn't have started it, he said. So basically, he believes that he's going to be able to make people live forever, to upload their mind into a computer so that you can go on living. But, I hate to break it to you, but the Bible says that it is appointed for man to live once and then the judgment. We are not permitted to live forever. When we were cut off from the tree of life, mankind, unless we surrender our lives to Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, we will never ever be able to live forever. And to me, this is totally pushing the agenda of the Illuminati, the hive mind as they call it. And to the Illuminati, it's crucial that the general population are all kept in a certain acute state of being that best serves their agenda and supports their control regime, and also prevents them from awakening to what is really happening around them. The Illuminati employ many different tactics using their various institutions of control in order to keep us deceived, detached, and all thinking and operating on the same level, which is far removed from that of true reality and who we really are. In order for the few to control the many, manipulative techniques must be utilized and deceptions passed off as the truth be perpetually output in order to safeguard their positions of power over us. So in a beehive, you have the queen bee who feeds, reproduces, fundamentally controls the hive, and in order to do this, she must somehow control every bee simultaneously without them necessarily knowing it. This is achieved by the queen emitting a pheromone which is subsequently fed to or picked up by every drone in the hive and serves to override their natural functions and fundamentally hypnotize them into serving her by feeding her, removing her waste, guarding the hive, which ensures her safety and survival, and of course going out to collect pollen for the subsequent production of honey. So our so-called civilized societies today function with much of the same beehive mentality, unfortunately mostly unbeknown to the masses. They want to control us. They want to get everyone onto this hive mind, which is exactly what we saw in this movie Ghost in the Shell, where you got everybody hooked into the matrix here. This is what they want. They know that they can only control us if we completely give up our securities, just like what we saw in that the trailer The Circle with Tom Hanks and Emma Watson. Sharing is caring, going transparent, and all this kind of trendy lingo that they like to push onto us to make it seem so cool to do it.
Comments are still headed.
What else is on?
Yeah, let's see what else is. Coming to you now from the largest studio ever constructed, it's The Truman Show!
Yeah!
Good morning!
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
What if
No scripts, no cue cards.
Morning, Spencer. How's it going?
What if you were watched every moment of your life?
How many cameras you got there in that town?
5,000.
I believe Truman is the first child to have been legally adopted by a corporation.
That's correct.
Brilliant.
What if everyone you knew was pretending?
Hi, honey. Look what I got at the checkout. Dishwasher safe.
That's amazing.
What if your world was make-believe?
Cue the sun. While the world he inhabits is counterfeit.
I'm not allowed to talk to you.
That's how I look. Not your type. There's nothing fake about Truman himself.
What if you didn't know it? Until now.
A lot of strange things have been happening. Stand by ring cam.
Is he looking at us?
Does he think he knows?
I think I'm mixed up in something.
Something big. We accept the reality with which we're presented.
Everybody's pretending, Truman. Get out of here. Come and find me. Truman? Truman!
Truman!
Anything happen?
No.
Mm-hmm.
You may find yourself in another part of the world.
Feels like the whole world revolves around me. Everybody seems to be in on it. I'm going away for a while.
You may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, how did I get here?
I'm not in on it, Truman, because the last thing that I would ever do is lie to you.
Fade up music. That's our hero shot.
He's gone.
Okay? Yes! Want to do it again? No!
Find him.
Truman, where are you going?
You can do it.
How do we stop him?
Give me some light.
Is that the best you can do?
Cut transmission!
I like your pen. I was wondering that myself.
Jim Carrey, The Truman Show.
But they want to control humanity. They want people to be drawn more and more into this alternate reality, into the Matrix, so that they can control us. I would also encourage you to check out Nicholson 1968's channel. He is awesome at exposing the transhumanistic agenda, so please do check him out.
Every Masonic lodge. This right here is a Masonic tracing board. It is in every Masonic lodge. Some form or fashion, they have a picture of this. Notice that at the top is east, not north. On a compass, up at the top is north, due north, not in a Masonic lodge. The altar always faces east.
So there's 3 with 1 missing, it looks like. Is this the
I don't know exactly.
north, south, west, and the east is missing, or?
No, that would be the east.
That would be the east?
Because that's north.
Right.
Right. I don't know why that is missing, actually.
I asked him why there were only 3 lights at the altar, and he said he wasn't too sure why, but there are 3 because 1 represents the east, 1 represents the west, 1 represents the south, but in Masonry, the north is the place of darkness. And of course, according to the Bible tells us that the north is where God resides. God is from the north. The Creator is from the north. The altar is not facing Him. It's facing east, where man was thrown out of the garden. Where does that come from? Genesis 3:24. So He drove out the man, and He placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubs and flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. And that's what's really going on here, is basically trying to get back in the Garden of Eden another way. But also notice, back to the tracing board, when you read from left to right, you have N-E-W-S, news, and it is code, because if you read it on a compass, it doesn't read correctly from left to right. Only in the Masonic tracing board or in a Masonic lodge do you get that reference from left to right, N-E-W-S, news. So just wanted to point that out. And also, it was also in one of the Olympics a couple of years ago. The stage was newspaper, and they also had an octopus as one of the mascots used in that show. Tentacles everywhere, the symbolism of the octopus reaching out all over the world. Same thing. Is putting a stamp out there of we're in control of this artist, Taylor Swift. We're letting you know, we have her, what she's doing, her videos she's putting out, gorgeous, look what you made me do.
And now this one. I mean, it's pretty much right in a row telling you something. You know, look what you made me do. Are you ready for it, gorgeous? I mean, that's pretty much telling you how they use the titles to tell you a story separately of what's going on. So, lastly, before I play the video, there's 3 versions of this CD. There's the standard, there's a special version volume 2. Notice that the numbers that are used in the special versions is 72. Now, anybody that's followed or seen any of my videos, I've told you that the pyramid on the back of your dollar bill is an uncompleted temple. Eye of Lucifer, Horus, whatever you want to say, on the back of your US dollar bill. So 72 is code word for 666. Depending on who you ask, they'll understand. And what I mean by that is 66 add a 6. The world teaches you 66 add a 6, you get 72. Ask someone in the know, Freemasonry, a 33rd degree Mason, ask him 66 add a 6. He'll tell you 666. He'll just add the 6. The statement is the same. The question is the same. 66 add a 6. But the way you're taught to look at it and perceive it, you get a whole different answer. So it's no accident that they've used 72 on her special versions of these other CDs. And it has to do with the temple. It has to do with what the very secret, the inner sanctum of Freemasonry is about. Building human temples. Building a stairway to heaven another way other than the way we've been shown. And, you know, for you guys who think I'm grasping at straws and saying, Nicholson, you're just seeing what you want to see, I'm going to show you just a little quick example of why I'm telling you it's all around you. You just got to look for it, and they're telling you. And this is a perfect example. Remember the perfume commercial a couple of years ago with Julia Roberts? Notice she's walking into the room. She's in white. Everybody else is in black. There you go, the Masonic black and white. Everybody's connected from above. That's what the Freemasons are above. They want to disconnect from the Creator. They want to do it their way. They don't want to answer to a Creator. They want to break free. There you go, breaking free from that. And they want to, look, she's going up the stairs. She's ascending another way. She does not want to be like the rest of everybody else. That's what you just saw in a little quick perfume commercial right in front of your eyes that most don't see. So, remember what I told you in the garden? They believe Lucifer freed them from the evil creator that is controlling us from above, and they want to break free. So, I hope you enjoy this video remix. It's a lot of little information, quick information in here that I remixed it for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you share it for those out there that are still asleep. They don't get it. People are just, you know, they're looking at other things and being distracted. But this is really the one game. And you better be ready for it. No pun intended.
You can't play God without being acquainted with the devil. The problem, Bernard, is that what you and I do is so complicated. We practice witchcraft. We speak the right words, and we create life itself out of chaos.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
And we create life itself out of chaos. And we create life itself
Are you ready for it?
out of chaos.
One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils.
Keep up the watch with all of us as we keep looking and keeping our eyes fixed on the Lord Jesus Christ, on Yeshua HaMashiach, who is coming very soon. And we need to be awake to what is happening all around us in plain sight. God bless you.
Would you say that you love this country?
Enough to give this mission my full attention, if that's what you mean.
You're clearly the right woman for the job, Major Kusanagi. The interview is merely a formality. The war accelerated both cyberbrain and prosthetic development. Of course, the cybercrimes born of such technology are serious, but they're only a symptom of another problem. And your unit can provide the perfect solution.
There's still one more job we gotta take care of.
Most of the military is going to become privatized. If you're going to war, you should at least have the sense to side with the winners. Between cyberbrains and prosthetics, we're seeing the largest profit-seeking system in the history of the world. Everyone is replaceable and expendable. Now let's see which one of us is disposable, too.
That's not something I can know.
They wanna fight? That's fine with me!
The world entered a rapid era of change. This country is no exception, of course.
Major, what's your status?
Prime Minister, no!
The hostage is cyberbrains.
Whoa, wait. Put those
They've
down!
been contaminated.
I thought they were supposed to be ghost-locked! Why can they move?
The false memory virus.
Should have been able to stop this!
Pity you, one who was once so free, trapped in this miserable waking world.
You're always searching for a future. If only we could be the same.
You have to accept your limits, remember?
Seeds that you planted are bearing fruit, Major. I won't let them be cut down.
One day you'll see the diversity of information packages is endless. And they can give birth to a new world. A world of data without people or things. Do you believe in a place like that?
Are you willing to sell your ghost for the sake of some uniform standard? Sacrificing those less fortunate than you are? You've all been given cyberbrains and ghosts to guide your actions. If you want something from others, you have to find something to offer in return. Build your future. Follow your ghost.
We're fighting for the future this time, not for another bloody battlefield, right? But for a place we can call home.